Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. What is up, my friends? This is Samantha Farley, and I am an online business coach for new entrepreneurs and startups. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you have watched my videos before, welcome back. Make sure to hit that like button below, and if you are not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe below for more information on my next videos. Today, I want to talk about taking the leap. I hear it all the time. All my friends want to start a business, make a lot of money, do all these things, yet they are afraid to take the leap. And don't get me wrong, I know that taking the leap is one of the hardest parts of entrepreneurship. However, what I don't understand is, why don't you at least try, right? I'm one of those weird breeds that I am definitely an entrepreneur at heart, and taking the leap is actually not as challenging for me as for some other people. But let me backtrack to my very first business that I started, which was this one, actually, the Farley Club. It did take me a little bit to actually take that first leap, because going into entrepreneurship, it's pretty hard, right? Like, you don't know what's going to happen. It's the unknown that people are scared for. Like, what if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if I lose a lot of money? There are a lot of questions that you're never going to have the answer to unless you take the leap. But I can understand why people are scared to take the leap, especially if you're in a role or a job or a position right now that is paying the bills. You maybe kind of like it. Totally makes sense, right? You're in a comfortable position right now, and taking the leap may or may not give you a better position. So I assume you are watching this video because you want to take the leap, but you have not taken the leap yet. And don't get me wrong, it's okay. There's so many people out there that are in the same exact position you are. And I want you to know that just the fact that you're thinking about going into entrepreneurship is an amazing first step. What our goal is to get you to the next step, which is actually trying to start a business. Now, what I want you to ask yourself is, why am I not starting a business, right? Like, why have I not started? And I want you to write that down on a piece of paper, okay? So why have you not actually taken the leap? And that doesn't necessarily mean like, why haven't you quit your job yet? It means, why haven't you tried to even, sign up for like an LLC or an Inc Corp? Like, that is like, well, it's different for every state, but it's between like $50 and $150 to sign up for an actual business entity. So ask yourself, why haven't I done that part yet? What is keeping me from doing that? What's standing in between me and signing up for a business entity? Another problem I see a lot is that people want to be an entrepreneur, yet they don't really know what to do, right? They might think, oh, I don't have any skills, or I can't do this and I can't do that. So I want to be an entrepreneur, but like, I have to find something that I'm good at first. Well, that's another silly comment that you're saying to yourself, because I guarantee that you are capable of doing so many different things. So right under what you just wrote on your piece of paper, I want you to write things that you're good at, things that you love to do. And you might be thinking like, well, I love to play with dogs all day, but that can't be a business, Samantha. Well, guess what? It actually can. You can work for Rover, right? As a dog walker. So there are so many different things that you can do to start a business. And sometimes you have to get creative, but I think you'd be surprised that you are able to have a job or a career that you are passionate about while also making decent money. A lot of times you'll hear experts say like, oh, you should have a career and then you should also have things you love to do, which I absolutely agree. They might not always go hand in hand. But if you hate your job right now, trust me, there is something better out there for you, whether it's another job and something that you actually enjoy, maybe a different product or service that you would rather be participating in the company, or having your own business and controlling your day. That was my biggest problem when I first started my business. Was I hated being controlled. I hated going to hated going into the office at a certain time, and I hated leaving the office at a certain time. I hated like having to do tasks for other people. But don't get me wrong, I still do a lot of work, but the freedom of being able to choose my own day and the own schedule of my day and where I'm working is absolutely amazing. And that is probably the most important thing to me, even over money. I would rather, have the time freedom and location freedom than worry about, making $1 trillion. So make sure you write down what you're good at and what you love to do. Another thing that you could do is write down things that you absolutely hate. Like you're like, okay, no matter what, I will never do this in a job or career, or I will never do this again in a job or career. Think about your job now, like what you hate about it. What would you love to get rid of? Write that information down. You may think right now in your head, but once you actually write things down, it's very insightful because you're like, wow, I didn't realize like I could do this as a business and totally exclude that stuff I hate. It's pretty magical. However, one thing I do need to warn you about is when you do become an entrepreneur, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur like I am, a lot of times in the beginning, you have to do a lot of the work. You pretty much wear all hats, and you have to do every aspect of the business. So, for example, I still have to do my accounting and my taxes. Well, I don't actually do my year-end taxes, but I outsource for that. But I do my quarterly taxes. I have to do sales, I have to do marketing, I have to do legal, sort of. Obviously, there are tools out there that help me, but you are stuck doing absolutely everything when you are a new business owner. But hopefully you love what you're doing so that these little extra things don't really matter because you're so proud of the business that you have created. Some reasons as to, why you haven't started your business yet, and what you like to do versus what you don't like to do. Now I want you to ask yourself, all right, how can I make money? Because having a business, you got to make money, right? Or then it's just a hobby. If you're not making any money, it's just a hobby. So when you are in business, you have to make money. So you have to think about, all right, who am I going to sell this product or service to, right? Who is my target market and how much are they willing to pay for it? Or are they even willing to pay for it? So there's a lot of questions you have to ask yourself around that. And to be honest, sometimes you won't know until you start researching and asking people what they would pay for it, or if they would pay for it. So what I want you to do now is write down some things you can do for research and surveys as to where you can reach out to some people and figure out, okay, does this make sense? Is my target market right? Or is my pricing right? Will people actually buy this? Are people dying to buy this? And be very open-minded. Do not get offended if they tell you something that you in your head think is a good thing right now, because it's not about what we think. It's about what our clients and prospects and ideal target market thinks. And trust me, I had a hard time with that at first because I thought, I think this is a great idea, a great product or service. And when somebody tells you that it's not, it kind of hurts your feelings. So beware of that. But you have to be open-minded. And if you really want a business, you'll listen to these people and you'll say, okay, scrap that idea or change it up a little bit and see where it goes. So you have to be open-minded to that. So write down some places that you can research, do surveys, go to a coffee shop. If you have a B2C product, go to a coffee shop and just start interviewing people at the coffee shop. Of course, ask them if they're willing to answer some questions for you, but you have to do these things when you're in business. If you are working with a B2B company, if you're working with businesses, go reach out to some businesses, send some cards, try to get some referrals from your friends if you have some business friends. There's so many things you can do, but I would highly recommend doing some research before just putting a ton of money in and then hoping for the best. And then really the next step is either creating the product, if it's something like an e-commerce product, really just getting that all set up and running, either creating the product, buying the product from somewhere else, getting the website up and running. If it's a service, usually that's just like a website and maybe doing some marketing. And then the final step is getting clients. So maybe even some of those people that you researched are interested in your product or service. Well, ask them, what does it take for you to buy something like this, right? What will they need before they buy this? Ask those types of questions. And hopefully from the research and the surveys, you will start getting some clients. Once you get your first client, it's the most amazing feeling in the world. And really from there, it's just how can you scale up? But I don't want to go into that just yet because you're still at the stage where you haven't even started. But I want to give you some motivation and some tips and tricks to do to actually get you to that step of starting. Starting is so hard, but guess what? Starting, if you start, you're 50% of the way there. So all you got to do is sign up for that business entity, do some research, and let's get going. If you guys have some other tips that you want to share with the crowd, comment below. If you have any questions, I will definitely try to answer them. Comment below as well. If you have any questions about growing your business, if you want some help from me, I have a course online when I also have one-to-one help that I do. So let me know if I can help you. And I wish you guys the best of luck. I really hope you start your business. And if you do start it, comment your links below so I can go check it out. All right, guys. See you later. Good luck.